Hi, everybody. It's Maxine Doogan back with another rendition of Dominate the Nation. I'm your horror's eye view in all things political. Boy, have I got questions. Even the cops have questions. So let's see. Let's talk about it's not me today. I just have so many questions about the Epstien Maxwell thing. Why weren't the victims believed back in 2019 by the Southern District of New York? I mean, which is the federal district attorneys who charged Epstein, right? Why didn't they charge all the people in the files? I have so many questions, right? Everybody has questions, but these are my questions. And some of the questions that some of the viewers and other people, we've been talking about the Epstein-Maxwell case and what's going on. Why did Trump, who controls the federal prosecutors in 2019, allow the feds to charge Epstein in the first place? I mean, certainly he must have known that, and they must have known that it was going to expose him, unless, that was the point. It was being used as a political prosecution where the Southern District of New York federal prosecutor's office was against Trump, and they were trying to expose something incriminating against him to keep him from being elected in 2020. I mean, why didn't they charge all the men, that were named by the victims back then? So I want to talk about sexual extortion. It's a thing. It's mostly used against powerful men. The FBI has a video on their website that defines sex extortion as blackmailing someone for sexual favors. How could it be a favor when it's really blackmail to agree to be sexually assaulted? The video goes on to say that sex extortion is when someone threatens to expose your private and sensitive material, like intimate photos, for money or for forced sex. They may threaten your family with harm if you don't provide them with sex acts. That predators lurk online spaces and contact victims to hack their electronic devices. It seems that the FBI left out a whole lot of other types of extortion on their video. I mean, the obvious extortion that's going on right before our eyes, right? I'm talking about when sex of any type is being used to extort powerful men to do or not do something. Mostly it's used to silence politicians, remove them from office, or make them take action or not take action that would otherwise benefit the interest of the American people. Former President Clinton was the target of at least one sextortion in 1997 by Netanyahu, the same Netanyahu who is committing genocide in Palestine right now. Netanyahu approached Clinton privately to demand release of a convicted far-right Israeli spy. That's all according to the New York Times. Netanyahu brought up the sex audio tapes between Clinton and Monica Lewinsky in the course of this demand. That's the kind of extortion that isn't exactly spelled out on the FBI website. Democrats are hoping that the Epstein files will show that Trump had sex with underage girls in hopes that he will be forced out. Trump has been exposed for so many illegal and inhumane actions over and over again, but he's still here. Trump is hoping that the files will expose the Dems like Clinton, when Clinton's already been exposed years ago, decades ago. So here's some questions. Why did the Bush and the Obama administration sit on the Epstein files? He was originally arrested back in 2006. And why didn't the Biden administration investigate Epstein's unaliveness. One reporter said that the victims were just after Epstein and Maxwell, not necessarily the others who were named in the paperwork that was confiscated by the FBI. The Epstein estate also has settled civil lawsuits to the tune of $164 million. Victims signing non-disclosure agreements to settle their claims of harm in civil lawsuits don't preclude the federal or the state prosecutors from bringing criminal charges. But those non-disclosure agreements could go against the victim's credibility when testifying before a jury in a criminal trial, just like the one that we saw in the outcome of the Sean Combs federal case, where the jury acquitted him of the federal sex trafficking charges, as all of the salacious and immature reporting about that trial wasn't enough to convict, to get a conviction. It wasn't enough to convince a jury that the victims were met the federal definition of being sex trafficked. The Sean Combs case wasn't the only sex trafficking case that resulted in a jury not guilty verdict. There was a federal sex trafficking case in Los Angeles in 2023 that ended in an acquittal as well. Sex worker rights activists, sexual assault, and sex trafficking survivors have been saying for a long time that the federal sex trafficking laws are badly written and arbitrarily prosecuted, just like the state sexual assault and domestic violence laws are. It seems that the Sean Combs case was overly charged with sex trafficking and racketeering, while the Maxwell Epstien cases were undercharged in that they had additional co-conspirators who could have been charged and convicted despite the 2008 federal plea agreement Epstein signed that protected everyone around him. That old plea agreement didn't keep the same federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York from filing and convicting Maxwell. No wonder the federal prosecutor got fired. I'm not convinced her firing was politically motivated. I mean, it's not like Trump would be afraid of being charged and convicted of anything by the federal government, right? He was convicted of 34 felony counts of fraud, and nothing happened to him besides that he got reelected. So why the contortions about hiding the Epstein files? Even Trump's own former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has stated publicly that he doesn't believe that the discovery materials in the Epstein-Maxwell case will show that Trump had sex with underage girls. But I'm thinking maybe it shows a trafficking scheme, possibly. Treasury Department files on Epstein revealed that over 4,700 wire transfers totaling nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of his accounts, and that hundreds of millions through other accounts. These transfers include payments to numerous women, including those in Eastern European countries, raising concerns about the links to sex trafficking activities. What if sex wasn't the only thing being trafficked, though? What if there's more? Whitney Webb's reporting on Epstein and Maxwell's father say that, ties to the funding are to the Israeli military to provide intelligence. It's been widely reported that Epstein was tipped off to his imminent raid and arrest by the FBI, and that his hard drives to his computers were never recovered. Where did they go? There's a lot of questions here that have to be answered. Congress, or maybe the People's Congress, should subpoena the Southern District of New York, the Federal Prosecutor's Office, and the FBI, and ask former administration officials to explain to the American people what they did and didn't do and why. As far as Maxwell, there are many who would benefit if she weren't able to speak out publicly. I mean, even the Democrats would benefit. But, that's not their style. They're the ones who bring the pillow to the knife fight, after all. Hey, please like and share and subscribe this video. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Decrim.